Hey, before we get started, let me tell you all about our sponsor, Factor. If you're exhausted, tired, or you just don't feel like cooking, Factor comes into play. Okay. Factor brings nutritional meals right to your doorstep. These meals are designed by dietitians and prepared by chefs. Every meal is crafted with functional ingredients, lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole foods, and healthy fats. Factor also has ready to eat salads with vibrant ingredients. Okay. They have 70 plus add ons from green juices to peanut butter bites. I like both of those. The Factor shops preps, cooks, and delivers these meals right to your door. So head over to factormeals.com/lawyer50 off and use code lawyer50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until 9/27/2026. See website for more details. Let's get to the show.
Now, if you're not ready, then go ahead and tell me you're not ready.
I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives.
I'm not a lawyer, but I'm not a lawyer, but
The Debrief.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of I'm Not a Lawyer, But
The Debrief.
I am Melanie, aka I'm Not a Lawyer, But, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Goosebay, how y'all doing?
We are not lawyers. I forgot what I say next. We're not lawyers or legal experts.
But we here to give y'all all our jazz.
Indeed.
Our
That
2
was
cents.
not what I usually say, but we get on here. So there is a few things happening that I wanted to talk about. The biggest kind of news that hit, well, before I go into that, let me say this. Over the last, I guess in the month of April, let's call it, there have been a number of women, Black women in particular, but women killed by their romantic partners. And it felt like it was just back to back to back.
Mhm.
There was Janae or Ashley, I think it was Ashley Janae,
Yep.
the woman who was in a country in Africa with her fiance. And, there's the allegation that she, harmed herself and that resulted in her death. That happened. Then you also have Dr. Fairfax, who was out on the East Coast, who was killed by her husband. She was in the process of trying to divorce him. She dies at the hands of him. The mayor, vice mayor, Nancy, I think it's Malayer is how do you pronounce. I don't want to mispronounce these women's names out of respect. But the vice mayor was killed by her husband.
Mhm.
And then a number of other women over these last months. And then we very recently, over the weekend, down in New Orleans, a man killed his 8 children, or maybe it was 7 of his children, and then one of them was like a niece or nephew to him. And then he also shot the mothers.
Mhm.
They didn't die, but the children died. And I haven't posted a single video recapping that, any of those cases. Not because I haven't seen them, and not because I want people to run around with the narrative about, you're not doing your part. That's not what I hope. And I hope nobody is making those stories about me. This is not about me. It's about the fact that these women have lost their lives, and these children.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to say that I did see those. My heart is, I'm sorry, Shreveport. Sorry, it was in Shreveport, not New Orleans. My heart is broken to see that kind of news. I was talking, I think, last week on this podcast about just covering the Tanner Horner sentencing phase and how heavy that was. And so everything just is so sad and a lot. So not to say, and I just wanted to make sure I took the time to recognize and call out the fact that these stories have been happening. I wish there was something we all could do to prevent this kind of stuff from happening. But rest in peace to all of those women and those children who lost their lives. That's what I have to add. I don't know if you have anything to say. It's sad.
There's really nothing you can do to prevent it. You can keep your eyes open, but I mean,
These
you
men.
don't know what
Thick to thin.
somebody's thinking. You know, I don't know these men from a can of paint, but if this is your husband and you're sleeping next to him every night, you don't know what's going on in his head. If you're divorcing him and you all live separately and he just decides to come over and do something like this, you can't really, you can't
Predict.
Yeah, you can't predict it.
You hope that this is not what would happen, but
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's very sad, and I am praying for the people who loved these women and these children and who are, I'm sure, so greatly affected by their losses. My prayers and love go out to them.
Same here.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the big news that has happened on Friday of last week, which is Anthony Burke, D4VD, got arrested, child.
For me, finally.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
What took so long?
Well, they said what took so long. If you watch my video, I said, and here's the answer to all of y'all question about what took so long. Here's what they had to say. So David finally gets arrested. Actually, he gets arrested Monday. What ended up happening is Friday. Nope, I'm messing up. He got arrested on a probable cause warrant on Friday. Okay. What that did is trigger the prosecutors, LA County prosecutors. It triggers them to say, you have to either file charges or not, and you only have a limited time to do so. That's the way probable cause warrants work, right? Like the way you can get arrested in LA, generally speaking, right? And I think more than LA, but generally speaking, because I know everybody who also is not lawyers like me loves to correct me. What happens or what can happen is a crime is committed and law enforcement, think about the Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty case, right? That happened in January. It happens, reports come in, investigators investigate, they present to the prosecutors, and months later, right, all of a sudden you get an indictment. You get a press conference, the people pull up to the podium, child, and they got big news. Let me tell y'all who we arrested today and what evidence we got. Mm-hmm. That's one way they did. That's the way it happened with the YSL case. Anytime they're doing press conferences, right? Anytime you have prosecutors up there doing the press conferences, it's usually going the route of an indictment, right? Okay. The other way, though, right, you can get arrested is think about when someone is arrested on the scene of a crime, right? So if somebody calls, hey, there's somebody shooting outside, right? Police pull up, everybody's still on the scene. They kind of do some, interviews, and they determine on that scene that this person committed this crime. I'm arresting you right now. At that point, prosecutors aren't involved. This is just what happened and the police. Yep. So they arrest you, right? And they later present to the prosecutors, and then the prosecutors can file charges that way. So in one route, it's like everything happens up front, and then the probable cause route, things happen on the back end. Does that make sense? So in this case, what happened, it's very weird because we obviously had the grand jury investigation, but what ends up happening is they arrest him on Friday, LAPD, and then on Monday, prosecutors come and announce their charges. But the other piece of that is, as we all know, there was a grand jury investigation. We know that people were called to testify in this grand jury, so it was a little bit weird, but that's where we are. What is now, two things.
One question. Mm-hmm. Bond, did they let him out on bond?
No, denied.
Okay.
So what ends up happening is the DA has a limited amount of time to say, are you pressing charges or are you not? Right? Okay. They say we're pressing charges. We have a press conference. They do it. What happens next is he has to go in front of a judge. So he goes in front of this judge, bail's denied. And his attorneys say, we want a preliminary hearing and we want it quickly. We want it within the 10 days that's designated in the statute, right? So we can have, as a defendant, if you're right, you can say, I want this quick. Mm-hmm. They say they want it quick. Why that's interesting to me, and I'm not a lawyer, but why that's interesting to me is because there were rumors about why the DA was dragging their feet about charging him.
Okay.
And there was rumors that LAPD, the police, and the prosecutors had been fighting. The police is like, yo, you need to arrest and charge him. And prosecutors are like, slow your roll. We're taking our time. We're investigating. And so the rumors are LAPD to pressure them went and arrested him. So now you have to decide in 48 hours. That's the rumors. And so for him to now say, I want my preliminary hearing and I want it quick. What happens at the preliminary hearing is the DA has to present some of their evidence in front of a judge to say, hey, judge, we have enough information here. We have enough for this case to go to trial. So a judge, you present to the judge looks at everything and the judge says, there's enough here. He should go to trial. My thing is, if they were caught off guard because LAPD pressured them, I'm just curious what's going to be presented at this preliminary hearing. Did everybody follow that? I'm sure it's going to be enough and it's going to go, like, there's going to be enough probable cause, but I'm just so curious how much they've been able to wrangle together, because if they were caught off, they were truly, based on these rumors, if they were truly caught off guard and not really ready to do this, you better be ready in 5 days, 2 days.
But why would the police want to do that to the prosecutors? Why would they want to pressure the prosecutors to hurry up and make a decision when, I mean, aren't they on the same team?
I think generally they're supposed to be. But the rumor, I think it had to do, I'm not a lawyer. I'm also not TMZ, and they're the ones that got all the tea. But apparently, I don't know if it was an ego power thing. I don't know if it's because it makes it look like LAPD hasn't been doing, like, why are y'all taking so long to LAPD?
Okay,
So
yeah.
they like, y'all making us looking bad. So y'all need to do something so we can show people we were at.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's because we live in LA and there's a lot of things. There's always a celebrity like motivation behind stuff here.
Yeah.
I feel like there's LAPD, even when you think about LAPD leaking cameras of the pictures of Kobe Bryant, when you think about just all the stuff that they do that's not above board, I just be like, ain't no telling what they got going on. That's my opinion. But regardless, this hearing today's Wednesday. It's happening tomorrow, actually. I said in my video that Thursday, the 24th, and everybody was like, the 24th is not Thursday. And I was like, oh, dang, you're right. The hearing is happening tomorrow in
23rd.
LA. Yeah, the 23rd, not the 24th. I plan on getting myself up and going. It starts at 8:30 a.m. downtown. And you know everybody's going to be there. And it's not being streamed.
I might come with you.
It's not being streamed. That's why you can't be setting up the stream. It's not being streamed. Okay. That is number one. I think Megan Cuniff had said probably because there's a child sexual abuse allegation. So that kind of stuff with it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She was a minor, Celeste. So who's the only people that's going to know what's going on is the people there. Again, we're in LA. Everybody is it's going to be a madhouse. I hate those kind of situations. I hate trying to weasel my little self in there because everybody's posturing. Everybody wants to tell you they work for People Magazine and ABC News and CNN. And they're like, and who are you with? And I'm like, I'm not a lawyer, but, and they're like, what? So it's the most annoying situation. I also know that these people don't come to everything. They'll come to the first one. They'll disappear. But I have to be there in order to get the relationships and make sure people like it's so very, very annoying. But I intend to wake up early and go because again, it's not going to be streamed and I want to know what's going to happen in this hearing. What evidence who's going to testify and what evidence are the prosecutors going to present to say that this case should go to trial? We have enough to show that this man did this. I want to see it. So
that's why I want to go. I want to hear. I need to see what's happening because this is ridiculous.
I know.
I'm with the police on this end. Like, hurry up, do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because common sense, your car, we
It's
got
common sense, but
evidence of
Mhm.
you dealing with her.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
your girlfriend. I mean, all the arrows are pointing
Pointing
right
at
at this guy.
Isn't it so dumb that he would do this and leave her in his car for it? I'm so like, you dumb.
He dumb.
Gotta be.
He dumb.
And she is a minor.
Yeah.
Like she spent her 14th birthday not alive. Is that so? She never really made it to 14. Her body was discovered around, I think, a couple days after her 14th birthday. So it was
The only other scenario for me is a friend of his using the car and ditching the car.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, it's like, bro, you weren't looking for your car?
Right. That's the other. And
Was
it's yeah.
was that, did you buy your friend this car and it's
Right.
in your name? And
Yeah.
that's what that's the only story this guy can come up with and say, I bought this car for my friend. That is not my car. That's his car. When I'm gone, well, not even when I'm gone, he drives that car. It's in my name. So whatever he did with it is what he did with it. And you would be forced to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, let's take a break from the show so I can tell you about our sponsor, Factor. Now, I'm exhausted more than not. Okay. Kids, work, and I don't feel like cooking. See, Factor solves that problem for me because they deliver fully prepared meals, right? Designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs right to my doorstep. Okay. These meals help me hit my nutritional goals, right? Factor has meals built around your goals, whether it's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein, or even GLP-1 support for strength and workout recovery. Check out Factor's Muscle Pro collection. Okay, every meal is crafted with functional ingredients, lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole foods, and healthy fats. Factor has bans on 175 ingredients. Okay, no artificial colors or sweeteners, no high fructose corn syrup. You don't want that. You dig? You don't want that high fructose corn syrup. No refined seed oils. Okay, just nutrition dense foods. For me, what I'm getting into right now is the jalapeno lime cheddar chicken. So it's like 670 calories, right? And it has 43 grams of protein. That fits my goals. And I'm loving that meal. I think you would like it too. You should try it out. Okay. So head over to factormeals.com/lawyer50 off and use code lawyer50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until 9/27/2026. See website for more details. Now back to the show. But if it's his car,
it's his car.
and not his friend's car,
It's his car.
like,
yeah. Sweet July in Patreon is correcting me. Thank you for that. She's saying she was 14. She was found after her 15th birthday. Thank you for that correction, because I said 13 going into 14, but it was 14 going into 15. Thank you for that. The other thing I wanted to touch on for this case is the complaint, the criminal complaint, which has been released now. And a couple things that things to highlight. I made a video about this. That's also very interesting. But there you go. People of the state of California versus David Anthony Burke. And count 1 is for the crime of murder. So that's his first one. They can actually go after the death penalty for this case if they would like to. They haven't decided yet, but that is an option that's on the table. If he were to be convicted, he could be sentenced to death. And it says, who unlawfully and with malice aforethought. I can never, in my head, I can think of how to pronounce that. Okay. Murder of Celeste, a human being, obviously. And it says that's what I wanted to start with. On or about April 23rd, 2025, the crime of murder, basically David Anthony Burke killed Celeste. What is interesting is the April 23rd date. Now, it does say on or about, and we've seen this a lot of times in legal documents. And it's basically the prosecutor's way of saying We don't know exact. Maybe we think it happened on or literally on or about this day. So it's not exact, but around this time frame. What's interesting is that if they believe she was killed around that time, her body wasn't found until, what was the date again? Hold on, let me tell you exactly. Her body was found on September 8th. So if she was killed on or around the 23rd, that is what, 5 months, almost 5 months?
Yep, April.
Later, that she had been killed. That's a long
So this
time.
on or about,
It's not exact.
I'm just saying, you could say March, April, June, and it's still a long time.
It's still a long
for her
time.
body to have been in that trunk.
And let me go to the next. So that's count one. And what the prosecutor said in the press conference is that there are some special circumstances with that charge. So the charge is with murder, but the way you can enhance or aggravate that charge, we talked about aggravating, mitigating, the way you can aggravate that charge is with these special circumstances.
Okay.
So, and of course that just like makes your sentence harsher. And that's how we get to these death penalty options. So the first special circumstance, it is further alleged that the murder of Celeste was intentional and was carried out by David Anthony Burke for financial gain. So what they are alleging is that he invited her over on the 23rd to his house, and they said in the press conference she was threatening that night to reveal the fact that he was basically sexually abusing her, that they had this sexual relationship. She's a minor, you're an adult. Clearly that's illegal. You're a criminal for that, and disgusting. But she was threatening to release that information. And as a result, as a way to protect his career, his finances, his money, the financial gain, he kills her. You got the financial gain.
So that's the first financial gain.
That's the first special circumstance. And then they are further alleging that Celeste was a witness to a crime and was intentionally killed because of that. So they're saying the crime, she was a witness and also a victim to the same crime. The crime being the sexual abuse of her. And so because she was a witness to that and clearly the victim, he killed her because I need you to shut up. I don't need you to talk about this, the fact that you saw this crime. So that's another special circumstance or reason why they're saying she was killed.
I think that's a reach.
Why? Well, because what they're saying is he was being investigated. There was an investigation into this relationship. She's now threatening to release that information. I have to stop you. It's like witness tampering. It's basically witness tampering.
Okay. I understand the first aggravating, but this one is, I would think, okay, I do agree because it sounds like they're all in one.
Well, it's say more. What you mean by that?
You murdered me for financial gain. You murdered me because I was going to tell. It's you murdered me.
I
It's
see.
under the same.
Well, it's all
umbrella.
under, yes, it's all under the murder count.
Yeah.
And then these are the circumstances, the special circumstances underneath that same count. So it's all, yes, it's all under the murder, first degree.
Yeah. So it's all. Yes.
Okay.
There. It just seems like you can mention either or, and it means the same.
Got it.
Situation.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Thing.
Well,
So,
I think what'll be interesting for this was a witness to a crime and was intentionally killed because of that. I think what I'll be looking for is more about this investigation that they're alleging was happening. They were saying this inappropriate relationship was being investigated. And because she is a witness to that, he killed her for that. I want to know more about the investigation. When did the investigation start? Was he aware of the fact that he was being investigated?
Yeah.
Did she tell him? Now, somebody commented, I think in my YouTube, and was like, according to the statute, like, you don't even have to be aware that there's an investigation going on. If you killed someone who is a witness to something, whether it was being investigated or not, you killed them because you didn't want them ever to say anything, that still qualifies. But I have a lot of questions. I'm so curious about this investigation.
So yes, so that's what I'm saying. He did what he did to keep her quiet, period.
Okay, I see what you're saying. That qualifies for the first and the second special circumstance.
Yes.
I see what you're saying when you simplify it down.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the third special circumstance says that the defendant intentionally killed the victim by means of lying in wait within the penal code, meaning of penal code, blah, blah, blah. And lying in wait basically means like hiding, not especially hiding, but kind of hiding and then waiting for the opportunity to ambush someone.
Yeah. You hunted. Everything about this, you knew it was coming.
Yeah. I think it really goes to the premeditation of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then it's further alleged that he used a deadly and dangerous weapon, a sharp instrument, to kill her. So that's all for count 1, the first degree murder. Now, count 2, he has 3 counts total, has to do with the continuous sexual abuse of her. So this one says on or between September 7th, 2023 and September 7th of 2024. So during that time period, they're saying that David engaged in 3 and more acts of substantial sexual conduct and 3 and more lewd and lascivious acts with a child under the age of 14 years old, again, who is Celeste. That's, kind of cut and dry. You see what's going on there. And then count 3 is the unlawful mutilation of human remains. And what's interesting, 2 things interesting about this says on or about May 5th. So that's interesting because when we talk about the murder, they're believing, again, on or about, that happened April 23rd. But they're believing, remember when her body was found, she was dismembered. So they're believing she was dismembered about a week or 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be looking forward to, in the hearing, what and why do they have these different dates? What makes them say the 23rd, and then what makes them to say the 5th of May? Is there, what evidence do they have to support these things happen at a later point in time? You know what I'm saying? Again, it's still on or about, so it's just around that time frame, but we'll see. Okay, so that is the criminal complaint. Like I said, the hearing, again, we're recording this on Wednesday. The hearing is tomorrow, Thursday. I plan to go. Y'all send up y'all good vibes that I am able to be in there. I have to get there early so I can get in, but that is my intention. We'll see how it goes.
I wonder if they're going to be able to use all these street cameras to track this vehicle where it was parked.
Well, it's also a Tesla, and they be recording. We saw that in, what's the name? Go ahead, though.
So, yes, you have this another situation with the Ring doorbells. I want to see if this is something they try to do, is track this vehicle all the way to the point it's being parked and somebody getting out of the vehicle. Because literally, you can go anywhere and there's a camera.
Yeah.
There's a camera
at
some point somewhere.
That's a good point.
There's a camera. I mean, you might not get it to the parking spot.
Yeah.
But you're going to get it at a light. Something.
Yeah.
I mean, and you have these timelines. Get your people watching these cameras for a black Tesla, which is probably going to be crazy, but
in LA. Everybody has a black Tesla, Tesla in LA.
But I want to see how they use this technology to catch whoever did this, because I don't see why you wouldn't.
Well, and the phones. The other thing is, they have basic, you ain't even got to be a true crime person to just assume phones, electronics are taken. When police are investigating, If you carry a phone everywhere, of course they're going to take it. So what information they're going to get from cameras in the area, the cameras that are stationed just around like by the city, and then phone, digital data, what location, right? Messages sent, all of that stuff is going, the plate readers, all of that stuff you can only imagine is going to come into play. And so what that all looks like is going to fill this story out clearly. We're just at the beginning stages where there's a lot of speculation and the questions, which at this point, like, of course, that's all we have because it's this tragic story of this child who was engaged in this. I don't even like calling it a relationship because he's an adult and she's a minor. And so that term feels gross to add to this. But there is this abuse is what it really is, right? When you are able to manipulate and that's what's happening. But this tragic story of this girl who ends up dead and had been for months clearly after being abused by this growing star. It's like, it's very sad. It's very, very sad. Let's move on to what started today. Today, Wednesday, is opening statement. The second trial for Julio Fulio has officially started. They had a very long process for jury selection. Again, this is a death penalty case. If convicted, these defendants can be sentenced to death. And so after that jury selection, we started with opening statements. It was a very, very long opening statement from the prosecutor. Oh my gosh.
Music videos.
Yes, multiple. This prosecutor talks so slow. And you know what's really crazy is I am trying to be fair. I'm going to try to recap this in a way that's fair. But this is a case where there's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence.
Yeah.
And honestly, the evidence speaks for itself. Like, you don't really have to tell a lot because the evidence is that you want to talk about flock cameras, you want to talk about phone evidence, location data, GPS, text messages. You want to, it's there. It's a lot there. And so, I mean, down to the Airbnb, it's a lot. And this man has been speaking for 4 hours. He played every music video he could. At some points, I'm like, you're repetitive and still yet confusing. How are you able to say the same thing 5 times and I'm still confused, especially when this is so clear?
Yeah.
What is happening? But he is doing that. I am looking forward to, we are recording this episode after he finally has finished. And so I haven't been able to watch the defense opening arguments yet. If they're going to give them, they don't have to. But I am looking forward to what could be their defense. What are they going to say?
AI.
Back to this.
They're going to say AI. That's the only defense they have.
I mean, I think it's going to be clear that Isaiah Chance, who is Alicia Andrews' the father of her child, they're not even alleging pulled the car because remember, he was in the car with Alicia.
Yeah.
So clearly they're going to be like, he ain't pulled a trigger. He ain't do this. He was just hanging out with his friends. You know, that's going to be his defense. Them other 3, the Murphys, Davion, Rashad, and then Gath Wright. Ooh, baby. I
think it's only, are we going to sentence them to death or just life in prison? I think that's a concrete statement.
Well, one of the things that I am curious about, and I'm trying to say this, hear what I'm actually saying and don't jump to stone me yet. If I was a juror, I'm trying to place myself there. If I was a juror hearing the story and I know that these defendants can be sentenced to death, and the context of this story is that these defendants shot and killed with premeditation, with planning, with intention, with malice. Malice aforethought is how you say that word. With all of that, Julio Fulio. But with that context is the fact that Julio Fulio had been a part, allegedly, in the shooting of some of their friends and family. Julio Fulio made this video. When I see you, if I, as a juror, learn about Julio Fulio and that this was not, again, hear me, this was not 4 men who just randomly, with no reason, open fire crazily, does that impact how I feel about them getting the death penalty? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't think they should get the death penalty. I think they should do life in prison. Simple as that, because that's the game they were playing. You know, they didn't. Now, what if those bullets they shot hit some innocent people?
It did.
Okay, well, so in general, I would say no, that's the gang life. They were killing other gang members or whatever. That's what they do. Okay. But once you start involving civilians and innocent people getting hurt,
Yeah.
if you bring that to the table, I'm open to it. Yeah.
I think I get stuck on that as well, because there's such a disregard for life at that point. You are being careless with how you're doing this. You got a target, but y'all have these high-powered rifles, and there's 3 of you, and I mean, just going crazy.
That's what. Okay, to your point, you're shooting. You all, if you all have ever went to the gun range and shot a pistol trying to hit a target that's 10 feet in front of you, and the bullet, you don't even hit the target. The bullet flies this way. Shooting isn't how it looks in the movies. You're not shooting somebody holding the gun this way, that way, just all of a sudden just hitting your target like that. On top of having a high-powered rifle, like one of these choppers they be having, you're shooting all over the place. So
with the brass catchers.
So there you go. I'm leaning more on the death penalty now.
My. That was
because
so quick.
of the
disregard.
Yes, the disregard of whoever's around in this situation. I'm about to hit whatever's moving and then go about your day.
Yeah.
Imagine if they never got caught and this lady done got shot, this man done got, and they just scot-free to do it again to another gang member. And this time he's in the grocery store or something.
Yeah. I am going to be, Coretta is saying 0 regard for life or bystanders, let alone the mental trauma. That is true too, because you're also just traumatized from witnessing this, from seeing this, from now. Do you even ever want to go back to a hotel? Like I can understand being traumatized from something like this. But I agree. There is, because of the fact that other people who were just minding their business and in town to put their baby in college, being affected and shot is crazy. But again, the part about the Julio so maybe we'll see. I'm very curious how this one is going to go, because the jury is aware of this potential penalty, what this could lead to. So we'll see. I'll be looking, like I said, forward to the defense, what their defense is going to be, what the strategy is, how this is similar or different to Alicia Andrews' case. There's going to be more information and evidence presented in this case than we saw, more and different than we saw in Alicia's trial. Obviously, they're different defendants. So we'll see. And so more things are able to be admissible for them than, the prosecutors being able to get stuff into her trial. For example, the first thing we already saw, it was hinted at in Alicia's trial, but we never got to actually see it, was this exchange on Twitter between, I believe, Chance and Julio Fulio. There's this Twitter exchange where Chance says, "How's your foot, Fulio?" And this is shortly after Fulio had been shot. It was the first attempt on his life, and he got shot, and it was in his lower leg. And so then they're on this Twitter, and he's like, "How's your foot?" Obviously a dig. So that was hinted at in the first in Alicia's trial, but we never actually got to hear that exchange. They already played it in the opening for this one. So that's just an example of clearly we're going to get more information and evidence, which I am looking forward to seeing. But I will say, I'm going to really try to be objective and start from the position of, prove to me these defendants did it. But I will tell you, just off of the Alicia Andrews case, it's a lot there. I'm more than halfway convinced already.
And then she also has she appealed.
We'll
So
see. Yeah. So she has a hearing on May 11th. Alicia Andrews has a hearing on May 11th with her new judge. And the judge has to determine if she should get a new trial or if she should be sentenced. So that is what's going to come up next for her.
now could this trial, I know she's separate from these guys, but just the evidence that comes out in this trial, could that affect her trial?
In what way?
And where whoever the judge is seeing it and like, oh snap.
No? It shouldn't. No, they're separate. And the whole point is that she was severed. So that
I know she's severed, but the guys could say, yeah, we did this and Alicia helped us do this. And that's why we were here, because Alicia this, Alicia that. And that's like, oh, so she was involved type situation.
No, but also I would be, they would have to get on the stand. I would be shocked if any of the
guys
get on the stand.
Get on the stand.
I would be shocked. And again, so if you find out information about Julio, there's also, we should be clear, there's also a rule, right, where you're not allowed to just like disparage the victim. I can't think of what it's called. I'm sure an attorney, somebody in the comments will say what it is, where you can't, it's not about the victim. However, the defense is clearly going to be trying to argue, and even the prosecutors they played Julio Fulio's video today. So while that is typically something you don't see, where you're like completely disparaging the victim, because it's more about the actions of the prosecutor, of the defendants. In this case, clearly it's related. And so I think you're going to be able to see some of what Julio Fulio actually did, and if that played a part in the story that led up to his death. And Coretta is confirming her sentence is only going to be based on what is in the record. Oh, is that what you were saying? Like, would her sentence be affected by what?
What's it?
Oh,
they're back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like,
sorry.
What is it?
Were you asking if her sentence is going to be affected by what happens in this trial?
Could it be affected?
Could her sentencing?
No, not her sentencing.
What were you asking?
Like, would the judge even grant a new trial if this trial proves that she was involved?
Okay.
And was like, oh, we got it right. You're guilty.
Got it.
So.
No, it wouldn't, because the whole appeal for the direct appeal, the reason they're asking for a new trial is based on what happened in the trial with that judge. It's not based on, she actually did do it or she didn't do it. It's not based on that. It's based on, they're arguing that there were some errors in that first trial, so much so that she deserves a brand new trial because things were done not in a fair way for her in that first trial.
Okay.
So nothing from this trial would impact what's going to happen on the 11th. We'll see what happens. It sounds like they're back. My phone was playing. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go watch it. Y'all keep up with it. Watch the recaps. And I think that's all we got for today. Thank you for watching the videos. Please please subscribe. There's a lot of content out there. I appreciate every view, every time you watch mine on whatever platform, because I am on TikTok, I'm Not a Lawyer But, Facebook, I'm Not a Lawyer But, YouTube, I'm Not a Lawyer But, and did I say Instagram? I can't
don't
remember.
think you
All
did.
platforms.
All
I'm not a lawyer, but
platforms.
make sure you like, follow, subscribe, do all of the things.
You can catch me on IG, GOOLZBY. Be safe, and court is adjourned.